Hello and thank you for joining me today. My name is Jan Clothier from Thinking Stamping and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in New Zealand. And today I'll be showing you how to make these lovely little Christmas tags using a resist emboss technique. So we'll start off by talking about what we're going to use, and if you see anything that you like today that I use and you live in New Zealand, you're welcome to buy it off me. There's a link to my online store both in the video description below and on the video end card at the end of this video. So the sets that I've used are Christmas lights, Brightest Glow and the Twinkling Lights die set. All of these products can be found in the July to December 2022 mini catalogue. They're actually much easier than they appear to be, so we'll crack on and I'll show you how to do them. You don't actually need very much stuff to make them. You need a piece of Starry Sky and a piece of basic white, and I've die cut those using the Tailor Made Tags set. Now the Tailor Made Tags come in two shapes. I've used the largest of this shape, but you could use the other shape just as well. And they also come with little reinforcers for the holes, which you don't actually need to reinforce, but they're nice to bring in colour. So I die cut the matching little circles. You get 4 at once. There they are, and I've already just attached one there using a little bit of glue on a sponge and my tweezers to just get it on there. So a piece of Starry Sky and a piece of basic white. You need another little scrap of white to make the sentiment with. And you can see here I've put the Season's Greetings on. That comes from the Brightest Glow set, and I've used that Season's Greetings. And what I did is I stamped it in Starry Sky on a larger piece of paper, and then I used my paper trimmer to trim it down to a smaller size. And when it comes to applying it, I'm going to cut it into pieces so I can add it on that way. And you're going to need some ribbon. The ribbon that I've used the silver metallic mesh and the Elegant Trim, the silver cord from the Elegant Trim combo pack. Both of those are from the 2022 annual catalogue, and we'll get onto those shortly. But the very most important thing that you need is a piece of shimmery white cardstock. Now it's got to be shimmery white cardstock for the trees because we're going to be applying water to it. You could equally use Fluid 100 watercolour paper, but don't use just ordinary basic white because when you get it wet, the surface of it is likely to pill up and you won't get a very nice result. So we'll just pop those to the side because we don't need them just at the moment. When it comes to applying ink, I know that a lot of people like to mash the ink onto the lid and draw their ink from there. I don't like doing that. I think it's messy, and I think I've got more control if I do it my way, and so I like to use just a stamping block and just put some ink onto the block. And as you can see, the colours that I'm using are Tahitian Tide, Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky. You could use any 3 colours that you think go together. I think it would look quite nice in some, lilac-y purple colours. You could do it in pinks. You can do it in anything really, but I've chosen to go with the blues. Now I'm using my water painters. They come in a set of 3 with a fine, a medium and a fat tip, and I'm going to be using the fat end. Okay, so I'm going to get a little bit of water going in my water painter and stir up the ink a bit. And I'm going to start at the top of my tree and I'm just going to brush over. And you can see where I have white embossed. I have this terrible feeling that I missed that step out. Okay, what I should have said is I have taken that piece of shimmery cardstock and I have embossed using white embossing powder the Christmas tree from the Christmas light set. Obviously I've done that. Okay, so sorry about that. What I'm doing next is I'm going to my next lightest colour and I'm going to start over the top of where I've been, and I'm just going, I don't suppose there's any particular reason, I'm just going one way, and as you can see I'm also going over that's a Tahitian Tide, and when I get to this bit where I'm adding the starry sky, I'm going to do the same thing. That's because I'm trying to avoid a really harsh transition line. I want it to look kind of like it's just rolling from one to the other. So I'm overlapping on the joins. Right, now what you can do at that point is you can leave it to dry naturally, or you can zap it with your heat gun to hurry it up. And once it is dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take the tree outline from the Twinkling Lights set, and we are just going to go and die cut that out. So I'm just going to nip off and do that now. I'm going to go and heat that up with my heat gun, and then I'm going to cut it out with the die. Okay, so here we have it. We've got our nice tree. We can just discard that. We will wipe them up in a moment. The things that I should have said to you, and I really apologise for forgetting to say that I had white embossed onto the shimmery cardstock. Two things. It's important that you use your embossing buddy because it really does make a difference. And before you start embossing, it's also important that before you start adding the ink, it's really important that you check that you have heat set everything. And the way you can do that, because it is quite tricky, white on white, is you sort of hold it to the light and you look for any areas which either look powdery or dull. And if they are, then go and give them another zap with your heat gun before you start applying the ink, because if you've got bits that haven't been set and you start applying the ink, it just turns into you lose the image. It just becomes a mucky mess. Right, so now it's just straight up assembling. Okay. And I'm just going to attach my tree. You don't need a heap of glue, but also be aware of which bit is going to be hanging off, because you don't want to add glue onto that. So I'm going to go for that. You can either leave this one free to swing, that's what I have done here. But if you want to be more certain of exactly how it's going to look, you can glue it, you can line it up how you want it to look, and then stick them together so that you're always going to have the accent colour showing. Over to you really on that one. And then the final steps are to add the, oops, this is a new one, so it's still got the tape on it. Now I'm thinking about 20 centimetres of the mesh ribbon. So I don't know, that's about 8 inches, I suppose, 20. I'll just cut that. And I'm then going to thread it through the 2 holes. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get my elegant trim, and I'm going to get the silver out. And because I've got fumbly fingers and because I quite like there to be an elegant loop at the end, I am going to go for about 25 centimetres of cord. Okie doke. Then final embellishments. So adding on the sentiment, I'm just going to cut that Season's Greetings in half. And I'm going to get some mini dimensionals and just pop a couple on the back. Oops, where's my tweezers gone? Okay. Seasons and Greetings. Okay, and the final final little thing is I'm going to add in a little bit of decoration on the Christmas tree, and I'm going to use the Festive Pearls out of the July to December mini, because I just like those lovely little silver pearls. So we will just pop on one at the top of the tree, and maybe just a few more to just make it look like a really festive beast. Okay, whoops. You move over there, and one more. I think perhaps on that little star down there. Okay. So, there we have it. There's our lovely little festive tag using the Christmas lights, the Brightest Glow, and the Tailor Made Tags. Very easy to do. Resist Emboss always looks lovely. Remember, you've got to use shimmery cardstock or watercolour paper. Don't try it with just ordinary paper. Now, as always, I'm happy to answer questions. If you have any, you can contact me through my blog or my Jan Clothier Independent Stamping Up Demonstrator Facebook page. There's information about that at the end card of this video and in the video description below. If you liked what you've seen and you'd like to subscribe and you haven't, please do so. And happy stamping.